as Carmina and I were talking about it earlier, to many who are not as educated in your field may believe it, but is this true? Is there a possibility that a microwave pulse from any ultramagnetic, you know, machine or satellite can trigger anything like that to disturb the weather?
Well, I think those claims that he was giving before he could relate the microwave to the cyclone or to the typhoon that hit the Philippines, he must first demonstrate that the microwave was the one who formed it. From the images that he was showing, it would appear that the typhoon was already developed when he was showing the microwave pulses that were being transmitted. Before he could relate the microwave to the cyclone or to the typhoon that hit the Philippines, he must first demonstrate that the microwave was the one who formed it. From the images that he was showing, it would appear that the typhoon was already developed when he was showing the microwave pulses that were being transmitted. as a scientist, I would prefer to first see the evidence. He must demonstrate it. It's an hypothesis. Everybody is entitled to make an hypothesis, but he must be able to demonstrate it well, clearly, and it must be repeatable.
Doing all right today, thank you very much. Down south, period. Doing better and better each day with a little help from my friends, my brother and sister. Of MAP, my brothers and sisters and their loving spouses. Brothers and sisters at MAP and their spouses. Is that better a little bit?
There's no very solid demonstration with how it can make the water evaporate, accumulate in a particular area.
The hot water in the kettle gives off water vapor to the air by rapid evaporation, just as rivers, lakes, and ponds give off water vapor to the air by slow evaporation.
On the road again. I just can't wait to get on the road again. I just can't wait to hang out with Nick Fuentes' gay friends. No, I can't wait to get on the road again. On the road again. Just for fun. Let me find my favorite. Where are your favorite video? Been downloading a lot of stuff. Nick Fuentes. Nope, can't get that video, which I just had up, and now I can't get to it. Of course I can. Of course I can't get to it. You gonna let me get to it? No? What am I gonna do? I can't get to the video. it's locked up. Of course it's locked up. Of course the fans are 200 miles an hour now. Of course it is. Of course it is. I should just not bother, shouldn't I? Patreon decided to download a 900 megabyte file. And as I recorded it, I said, look at this 900 megabyte file. And all I have to do is delete the Patreon tab and it stops. Start the Patreon tab, starts. And I'm showing it, and just as I go, here is the Patreon tab, and my video on my phone camera stopped. All right, so I'm locked up. Let's go. I'm just looking for that interview, the Arab media. I'm just going to run it 24/7 now. Just something to do. Yeah, I just had it up and it just disappeared in front of me. Literally disappeared in front of me, and now I can't find it. It's like, are you fucking kidding me? Yeah. Sometimes you think you're imagining. You're literally imagining things. You literally think, I must be imagining this.
For supporting and attending.
Here we go. Oh, it's just an echo chamber making money online. That is correct. Yes. Hey there, Miss Blanche. Good dawning here from Queensland, Australia. The banana benders. The banana benders are amongst us. Yeah, there's nothing more to say. I'm just fucking around. I'm just going to leave this one. I won't be talking anymore. Please enjoy.
من العاصمة الماليزية كوالالمبور, Brandon O'Connell, Australian writer and former political prisoner, joining us today from Kuala Lumpur, Central City, Malaysia. Welcome to Min Al-Dakhil from the inside, Brandon.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Pure pleasure to have you. Well, Brandon, now you're living in exile, in fear for your life, because you claim to be targeted by Zionist groups tied directly to extreme right-wing Israeli politicians for supporting and attending a Friends of Palestine group in Perth, Western Australia. Tell us more about your curious case as the first person to be jailed and tried under the Western Australia's racial vilification laws. Is it solely based on your support of Palestine and the Palestinian rights as a member of the FOP? And how has all this started? The circumstances of your trial, your sentence, and your deprivation while in jail from your rights.
Yeah, thanks very much. It's a pretty big story, and it started way back in 2009. After Operation Cast Lead, I was not a member of the Friends of Palestine, but I attended a rally and had met the head of the organisation, Alex Wisson, earlier. And I was just doing some filming and making a video. I don't belong to any groups. I'm a former registered nurse, ICU and emergency department trained. And I just went down there. I'm not any particular political persuasion. I just met a lot of people. I had Arab friends, I had Muslim friends and Palestinian Christian friend. And I'd learned over time what was going on. And as I learned more, I felt I couldn't remain quiet. And I just went to express my support. And we were stalked by two members of radical Jewish groups out of Western Australia, Mr. Stanley Elliott Keyser, who's the president of the Australasian Union of Jewish Students, and also a member of Habanim Dror. These are radical Zionist groups, and also a quote, this is his own words, a big fan of our friends, our beloved friends, Chabad Lubavitch. And an altercation ensued. It was a perfectly legitimate political discussion. And the words I used were, as he stalked us and filmed us, you are a racist Jew with a religion of racism, hate, homicide, and ethnic cleansing. Those are my basic words. And I also then discussed specific issues. And for that alone, I got 3 years jail in total. But for that simple political altercation, I received 1 year's jail.
Brendan, before we talk about your sentence, allow me to ask you about it is your political views that have caused you to be behind bars. Now, tell us, what are these WA laws, and why is WA the only state in Australia to have this type of legislation?
Yeah, that's an interesting question, and I didn't find out till many years later the very close relationship that Israel has with Western Australia, and in particular Benjamin Netanyahu himself is close personal friends with the former Australian Foreign Minister Julie Bishop, who comes from Perth, Western Australia, my hometown. I met her once. She's actually quite polite, a very nice lady, and also the largest media mogul, the Seven Network in Australia, Kerry Stokes, a very well-known Western Australia, is also very close with Benjamin Netanyahu and Henry Kissinger, and of course James Packer from Crown Casino, who is on bribery charges with Benjamin Netanyahu. So I had walked into a hornet's nest completely unknown to myself just by linking the racist apartheid.
Shit. God damn it. Shit. God damn it. God damn it.
I give credit to the very conservative opinion piece writer Paul Murray, who actually defended me. I couldn't believe it after I was jailed. And he asked that exact question. Is it now racist to call someone a racist? Or is it only racist to call the Jew a racist? This was a political speech. It was purely political. He approached us. He had harassed us. And it was, quite frankly, outrageous. Now, of course, I realise now that the law is, there's ways to play the law, and I'm not very good at playing games. But there seemed to be a policy of just be quiet and just go away, basically. They just didn't want to talk about it at all.
Maybe, Brandon, you should have drawn a line of distinction between Judaism or being Jewish as a religion and being Zionist.
Well, I did draw a line, but I think that's a very hard line to draw when you have the very foundation of Zionism is the return to the land of our fathers, which is in the Jewish holy books. And of course, you have the racist, homicidal lunacy of many of the Orthodox Judaism, and in particular the Siddim, the ultra-Orthodox, like Chabad Lubavitch, the Babylonian Talmud, the Shulchan Aruch. These books are racist hate literature, and even in Russia.
Of course, I agree with you that any sort of extremism, be it in Islam, in Christianity, or in Judaism, it's all something that we do not agree with, and it should be noted. But after you released, Brandon, you have continued with your activism and was charged again, but attempted to flee Australia. Today you are, you're abroad. How is Israel today subverting parliamentary democracy and instigating a new set of values contrary to the Australian Constitution and which threatens directly freedom of speech?
Yeah, well, the political Zionist movement is simply so powerful and so subversive. And as we saw with the likes of a Jeffrey Epstein, Israel seems to have a political blackmail and sexual blackmail operation going full time. I think some of it is partly through ignorance. I had actually met some very good police, ex-military, even the lawyers and some judges I had met and given material, and they thanked me and shook my hand. Unfortunately, it was clear political interference, which gives you an understanding of the terror that this man called Benjamin Netanyahu seems to have. He just seems to I can only call him a thug, a gangster. And places like Chabad Lubavitch, political groups posing as religious groups, seem to have everyone in their pocket. Josh Frydenberg is a member of parliament, and he's hanging around and very close friends with these groups. How is this possible? They're worse than neo-Nazis, and I don't understand it. It seems to be a lot of grounding in ignorance. And that once people do understand and once they get some information, the case actually, I got a lot of information to lawyers and even a judge, and you could see it. It had a huge influence on them. They simply didn't know.
It seems that those anti-discrimination laws, vilification laws, are just, they are on the table when it comes to specific people, but a specific sort of people, or specific race of people. But when it comes to Islamophobia or whatever, they are just sidelined.
I could tell you stories you wouldn't believe what's going on, in particular in Western Australia, but also Sydney. It's a daily occurrence where women are having their hijabs ripped off. I've been on buses in Perth, Western Australia, where young thugs are screaming at young mothers, young Muslim mothers in hijabs, calling them terrorists. I've seen this with my own eyes. This is the media beat up who is responsible for this, but there's no comeback. They're told, sorry, there's no religious vilification. However, in the legislation, there is national origins. So when they start screaming, go back where you came from, the legislation could be enacted. The police simply refuse to do so. The police prosecutors refuse to do so.
Right.
And I think it's largely ignorance with the legislation itself, because I met some very nice police officers, but I also met some very dumb ones.
Right. Allow us, Brandon, to stop now for a short break. We will continue to talk further about your curious case, but we have to stop for this short break. إذا فاصل قصير ونعود. لا تذهبوا بعيدا. هل سيؤدي أي انتقاد لإسرائيل في النهاية إلى اعتبار مطلقه متعصبا ومعاديا للسامية، إلا إذا تنبه كل شخص لا يتوافق معها على كل كلمة يقولونها؟ هل هذه هي اللعبة الفعلية هنا، أي إسكات كل شخص يتكلم ضد إسرائيل؟ تساؤلات يطرحها الكاتب الأسترالي بول ميراي. الأسترالي براندون أوكونيل السجين السياسي السابق يتحدث عن الثمن الباهظ للدفاع عن حرية التعبير.
Yes, and those are the words used by Paul Murray, the opinion piece writer. Look, that's basically what it is. There are very easy ways to bypass the legislation. One is to remain cool and calm. Unfortunately, 10 years ago, I confess to when confronted, I get very confrontational, and this is the problem. But if you can remain cool and calm, then it is very easy to have a rational debate. But the trouble is, the system appears set to try and provoke you. And I notice many of the Jewish extremists and Jewish activists will go out of their way to provoke you to enact legislation. If you can keep a cool head.
For my ladies over 220 pounds, do Tai Chi indoor walking to lose weight by Christmas. We start this Sunday.
How many times should I go to the gym?
0. Do Tai.
We are going to look at some disturbing videos, strange and odd news stories, and as always, lately, while people are giving speeches. It's very odd, but this one's a little bit more peculiar.